Stick it and pick. Any kind of fool could see there'll be something right there in the mid-20s. Stick it and pick. Listen, baby, you can blame it all on me. If there's nothing, well, then you can just trade back. I am vehemently against the cost that it would take for the Houston Texans to trade all the way up to get the player that they seem to be enamored with. Multiple people with varying levels of credibility to the report talking about a potential trade up for the Texans. Jeremy Fowler, though he was kind of fence-sitting where he said, oh, maybe they're just doing their due diligence when they're calling up. But then Todd McShay added fuel to the fire, saying that Gray Zabel in a small trade up or Kelvin Banks from Texas in a big trade up would be targets for the Texans as they are calling around. And then Diana Rossini from The Athletic, she said the Houston Texans are calling about a potential trade up. I'm against it. I feel like the player they'd be trying to go and get is Kelvin Banks Jr. And I just don't believe the cost to go and get Kelvin Banks Jr. is what the Texans should pay to get just one offensive lineman. When you think about a big trade up from this Texans team, you think about moving into, say, 11, 12, 13, something like that. Well, you're obviously sending off the 25th overall pick. So there goes the 25th overall pick. You're probably sending your second round pick. Well, there goes the 58th overall pick. And then you're trying to figure out what that other pick is. Maybe it's one of the second round picks that you have in next year's draft. Maybe it's one of the fourth round picks you have in next year's draft, but it creates a huge chasm with not a lot of opportunity to move around between, say, 13 and 79 when the Texans would be on the board yet again. I like Kelvin Banks Jr. I believe him to be probably the best true left tackle in this draft, and I just can't see how trading up for him or, frankly, any other player would make sense. That player is not going to have the talent to outweigh the chance for Nick Caserio to pick 4 players in the top 90 picks. That's what the Texans currently have, an opportunity to pick 4 players in the top 90 picks. If they don't make one move, just stick and pick, they got 4 players in the top 90 of this upcoming draft. Now, you're saying to yourself, well, Cody, how, if you're sticking and picking, what if players come off the board? Are we really going to see the 10 players or so that you could link to the Houston Texans, that you could put on the Houston Texans, come off the board before the 25th overall pick? Really, let's take a look at those 10 players. Let's take a look at them. Look at these 10 names. Kelvin Banks Jr., Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson, Gray Zabel, and Josh Connerly, all the offensive linemen that we would link to the Houston Texans. I left Josh Simmons off. I just don't believe don't believe at all that he's going to be a target for the Houston Texans. Banks from Texas. I mean, yeah, maybe he comes off the board. Tyler Booker from Alabama at guard. Donovan Jackson at guard from Ohio State. You can stick and pick at 25. Boom, Donovan Jackson. Be right there. Gray Zabel from North Dakota State University. I don't believe the Texans are looking at him because of the small school factor, but maybe they'd make an exception. Maybe they like him enough to make an exception. Josh Connerly Jr. I don't like it, but adding a tackle of the future at 25 that can maybe help you at guard in 2025, it's not a bad idea. Then you look over at other positions beside offensive linemen. You take Emeka Buka or Matthew Golden, the 2 wide receivers, one from Ohio State, one from Texas. You take either of those guys at 25, and you'd be totally fine with that. Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan. I'd be on board with that. Amarion Hampton, the running back from North Carolina. I'm on board with that. Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. I'd be on board with that. Like, you look at these 10 players. You're really going to sit here and tell me these 10 guys aren't going to be on the board when the Houston Texans are there? 0 of them will be available when the Texans are picking at 25. So I thought I'd go through a little exercise here just to prove that sticking and picking is the way to go. Now, this is not an official mock draft. This is simply an exercise, and I'm going to try to make it as difficult as possible for the Texans to have one of those 10 guys available. I really am. I'm going to try to make it tough for all 10 of those guys to at least one of them be available by the time the Texans get on the board at 25. But we know some of the stuff that is going to happen. We know Cam Ward's going to go 1 in this draft. Travis Hunter 2. Abdul Carter 3. Okay. Will Campbell 4 is the betting favorite. All right. Well, the Texans, Ashton Genty going, that's good for them. Then the Raiders here at 6. I told you, I'm going to make it hard. We're going to take Kelvin Banks at 6. You know why? Todd McShay mocked him there. Daniel Jeremiah mocked him there. I told you I feel like he's the best true left tackle. The Raiders got a weird left tackle situation with Colton Miller wanting a new contract, so he comes off the board. Jets at 7. Let's give them Tyler Warren. Let's put them there. All right, the Carolina Panthers, wide receiver, edge, defensive back. I would say probably edge for them, or maybe Mason Graham at defensive tackle. That'd give them a really nasty defensive tackle duo. But let's say they fall in love with Will Johnson. Give him a defensive back here. The Saints, okay. The Saints want a defender, want a guy that can take over for them. All right, the Bears. Now, the Bears could take one of these offensive linemen. The Bears could take something that the Texans might like, but the Bears could also just snag themselves Armand Membu, the tackle guard flexibility for him. All right, 11. All right, let's say the 49ers really like Walter Nolan. They want to add to that defense. Boom, there goes one of those players. Cowboys like Tetairoa McMillan. Okay, so the Miami Dolphins, they need offensive linemen. The tackle situation, not great for them. The interior offensive line situation, they could probably use one of these offensive linemen. Let's say they go out there and they get the best guard in the draft. Again, I'm trying to make it hard on the Houston Texans for one of those 10 players we talked about. I'll show you the list again. And here we are. Kelvin Banks already off the board. We put Tyler Booker off the board. Okay, we're trying to make sure those 10 players are not available for the Houston Texans. Colston Loveland, boom, you're off the board to the Colts. There you go. The Falcons have been linked to an edge player basically the entire time. They're going to go edge. Okay, this is another potential offensive line spot here. So let's say that the Arizona Cardinals feel like they need an offensive lineman, and let's have them take Gray Zabel. Okay, this is another, again, an offensive lineman spot here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, let's make it tough on the Houston Texans. Let's have them take an offensive lineman or one of those other players that the Texans would be interested in. I actually think they're a sneaky Amarion Hampton team as well. So let's get them one of these offensive linemen, a tackle or an interior offensive lineman. All right, so they really need some interior help. Donovan Jackson, probably a little early for him, but boom, they grab him. Okay, the Seahawks. Now they're taking, let's see here. Emeka Egbuka kind of doubles up their stuff. They kind of need a center. They kind of need a guard. Okay, they can't quite find any of those things. They're just going to go ahead and take Matthew Golden. They need an outside wide receiver. They got a bunch of slot guys. Boom, they take Golden. The Buccaneers take Jihad Campbell. All right, boom, this is an Amarion Hampton spot here. So he goes there. Let's say this is Shedeur Sanders. Boy, I got to scroll down a while to find old Shedeur, huh? All right, let's say this is Shedeur Sanders. All right, 22, a team that can replicate a lot of the stuff that you need. They also need some pass rush help there. But let's just pretend. Let's pretend like, okay, Emeka Egbuka just fits. They want a reliable receiver after not getting a reliable receiver recently. So Emeka Egbuka. Now, the Green Bay Packers, wide receiver, edge, cornerback. They don't take really wide receivers. So boom, they're going to go with an edge player. Now the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, now this one, here's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say that this is actually the Kansas City Chiefs, and they come up and they grab Josh Connerly. Now look at what's on the board here. Jahade Barron, Malachi Starks, Luther Burden, maybe some team likes Josh Simmons, Jalen Walker, who I very much believe is going to go before pick 25. Shamar Stewart, again, another player who I very much believe is going to go before pick 25. Mykel Williams, again, another player I very much believe he's going before pick 25. So I made it as hard as I could, and I reached for some players. There's Connerly, there's Egbuka, there's Hampton, there's 3. Golden, 4. Jackson, 5. Zabel, 6. Loveland, 7. Tyler Booker, there's 8. Walter Nolan, there's 9. And there's Kelvin Banks Jr., there's 10. And again, 24 is actually Josh Connerly. Well, if you've got this, you've got Jalen Walker here, you got Jahdae Barron here, you're going to have a perfect trade back opportunity. And I reached for those players. I went really chalky and really reachy, and that's just not how the draft plays out. That exercise right there shows you the Texans do not need to be trading up. One of those 10 guys is going to be available. More than likely, 2 to 4 of those 10 guys are going to be available because you've got other edge rushers that are going to go up higher up the board. You've got defensive backs that are going to go up higher up the board. You've also got the chance that a third quarterback could come off the board. I don't believe trading up is the right approach. One player is not going to drastically change where this offensive line is. 2 guys could, though. So if you get an offensive lineman at 25, you get another offensive lineman in the 3rd round, and all of a sudden you've got 2 guys, 2 building blocks, 2 guys under contract for at the very least the next 4 years. You've got yourself 2 guys you can hopefully plop down at 2 different spots on this offensive line and bet on those guys locking up positions along this offensive line. Remember, you've got Titus Howard in a weird contract situation. Cam Robinson's a 1-year deal. Ed Ingram only has 1 year left on his contract. And Laken Tomlinson only has 1 year left on his contract. You need bodies. And I'm just sitting here thinking, if you're taking 2 linemen and say a defensive tackle and a wide receiver in those 4 picks, that's better overall for the Houston Texans than Kelvin Banks and whatever you get left over there in the 3rd round, which would probably be maybe another offensive lineman, but you're losing out on a chance at a running back. You're losing out on a chance on a wide receiver or defensive tackle. You're going to get just 1 or 2 of those, and then you may not get your other offensive lineman. Remember, the Texans don't pick in the 4th round. The next pick after those 3rd round picks, the 5th round. You're sticking at 25, sticking and picking. You can make a selection, one of those guys available. And again, I reached to get those 10 guys off the board. I reached and went very chalky. This is not going to happen when the NFL draft gets here. When that 1st round rolls through, you'll have surprises and movement, and things will get a little crazy in that 1st round. You don't need to trade up. Take those draft picks. Give Nick Caserio ammunition on day 2. If he replicates another day 2, which is a rotational contributor, which is what Blake Fisher was, and 2 starters. If he gets 2 starters, a rotational contributor, and a 1st round starter in the draft this year, the Texans are going to be set. But if you get a rotational player, a maybe starter, and a surefire starter that maybe has to change positions, that's not as good. That's just not as good. So what say you? I am sticking and picking, as I started the show off with. And if you can't stick and pick, you don't like the players there, move back. There's got to be somebody excited about a quarterback to come up to that spot. There's got to be somebody there in the back part of the 1st round excited to come up for one of those defenders that we saw left on the board. You'll have options at 25. You don't have to go out there, use the totality or most of the Laramie Tunsil haul that you got in that trade on just 1 player. The Texans, not 1 offensive lineman away. And I like Kelvin Banks. You guys have heard me talk about him a ton. I believe in Kelvin Banks. I don't believe in trading up to 10, 11, 12, 13 to go and get Kelvin Banks is the best move for the Houston Texans. What say you? You're moving up? You want to move down? Who do you want to pick in the 1st round? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll do an actual goodness, actual real to goodness. How's that phrase go? Real to goodness, good to real. I'll do a real mock draft before the 1st round gets here on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. See you Saturday. Karbach Brewing in the Biergarten, hanging out with you, talking about the first 2 days, watching day 3 of the NFL draft. We get started at 11 a.m. We're going to have it on the big screen with the sound. Got the pizza and pints. They got all the different beverages there at Karbach. You're not going to miss it. Not going to want to miss it. Not want to going to miss it. Either of those work, I think. You don't want to miss it. I'm just excited for the draft. It's almost here. I'm losing my mind, okay? I'm starting to lose my mind. is basically what we've come down to. Okay, I'm starting to lose my mind, and I just need picks to start coming off the board and having some fun with it. Super Stream with Landry Locker on the S&L channel, starting a little bit before 7 o'clock on the first round tonight. So don't miss out on that. Now that I've caught you up on all the housekeeping, you're wondering, what the hell's on the back end of this video? Ultimate Fantasy Draft. I went and got my buddy Will Kunkel for this one. Ultimate Sports Movie Fantasy Draft. You want to stick around for that? Appreciate you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the fantasy draft. If you're done, all you wanted was the football, appreciate you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I can't wait until we talk about the first round being done really soon. Thanks for watching. The Ultimate Fantasy Drafts roll on. The Ultimate Sports Movie Draft. That's right. We may have to sell you on why these picks come down. And my guest, we've been doing a lot of food, but he has no taste buds, so we had to do something that he does like, which is sports movies. It's Will Kunkel from Fox 26. And, of course, you see me on his show on YouTube, Kicking It with Kunkel. What's up, buddy?
This is my first time on your show without me photobombing you at the Combine.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. What an honor.
It's you know, it takes a lot to get invited on this thing.
I'm still researching right now.
Anybody can go on Kicking It with Kunkel, but
yeah, the bar is low.
The bar's a lot higher over here at
you just got to step under you got to step over the bar for my show.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We all know what good sports movies are, and we've got to put together a team of 5 sports movies that can beat the other guy's team when the people vote on it. So if you're picking something that you like that's way outside the box, you might be risking the win, but maybe you'll feel good about yourself at the end of the day.
What is your strategy? Because it's like food. It's preferential, but also some people just don't have taste, like you mentioned.
My strategy is win. That's my strategy.
So your strategy is to get the vote, not to actually put your favorite 5 movies?
Well, it just so happens when I get my 5, it's going to be awesome as well. Like, I'm not picking some slappy movie just because, I think it's good. Like, I happen to like movies that everybody likes, as well as
you're going to go with the remake of The Longest Yard. I already know you.
No, that's not even on my list. I guarantee you're going to draft a movie that I never would have drafted in a million years. I'll tell you what it is at the end. I'll tell you what it is at the end.
All right, so who goes first?
Well, you're the guest. You're the guest. You get to go first. We'll go back and forth. It's not a snake draft, just back and forth for 5 rounds, and I'll let you have the very first pick, Will Kunkel.
All right, I'm just going to keep this one safe. That way I can get it off the board. It's one of the greatest movies of all time in the sports world, and it's Major League. I don't know if it's the number 1 overall pick worthy, but the idea is that it can't get off. I can't let you have Major League. So I'm taking Major League.
You know what? That's a great idea, because that was probably where I was going first with baseball. And you could probably do a whole.
The board's already changed. The board is already changed.
Well, no, because as Nick Caserio would say, we're going to be ready to pick whenever we're on the clock. So I'm ready to pick, and I'm sticking with baseball because I feel like everything else that I want to get, I can still get because I don't have any faith in you. I'll go with Bull Durham. I'm going with another baseball great. Costner, minor league baseball. Got to sacrifice a chicken. Candlesticks are a nice gift. I love everything about Bull Durham. That's my first pick.
Amazing movie.
Yep.
Hysterical, love story, baseball.
Rain out when he turns the sprinklers on. When the radio guy fakes the baseball crack with the props because they're not on the road. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is baseball the best genre of sports movie, you think?
I think so, because it's the easiest to recreate the action and not have it look absolutely ludicrous.
That's probably true. Yeah. We've seen some ludicrous football and basketball movies.
There's been some really bad basketball and some really bad football. But baseball, it's easy because you can just focus in on one guy, or if it's, hitter and pitcher and catcher, just a few guys, it's easier to film it. So baseball getting a lot of early love. I got a hunch maybe baseball's going to sneak in somewhere else in this, but pick number 3 overall, your second pick, Will Kunkel.
Again, a great movie, a hysterical movie. Maybe not the third overall best sports movie of all time, but a movie I got to keep away from you. Caddyshack, number 2.
Oh, man. Yeah, your strategy's good because if I started with Major League Caddyshack, I'd be happy.
I'd be very upset if you did, because then the draft board wouldn't be falling my way. I'd be panicking. I'd be calling my scouts. I'd be calling my people saying, like, what are we doing? Are we not going best available? Are we looking for need now? Like, how do we go about this?
I love Caddyshack.
I'm safe.
From Bill Murray's interactions in the movie to how weird Chevy Chase is, to Rodney Dangerfield's excellence when his hat's terrible. Bet you get a bowl of soup with it, and then the judge is wearing it. To a line that I use all the time when Spalding's like, I want a hamburger, I want a cheeseburger, I want a hot dog. You'll get nothing and like it.
Thank you very little, Danny.
That is great. That's a great pick.
Has anyone fallen off more than Chevy Chase?
Ooh.
I mean, he was hysterical. He was fit, good looking, stud. He's just nowhere to be found now.
Yeah, now he's just kind of, I mean, even like the S&L stuff's not bringing him back around. And some other guys have been, like, they're still, like, Alec Baldwin's still getting on TV.
That's what I mean. Like, people are doing things, whether it's good or not or whatever, so be it. But Chevy's not, like, doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. Okay, we've done a lot of humor here so far. 3 pretty funny movies. Bull Durham's not necessarily a funny movie. It just got great parts of comedy in it. I'm going to go a little bit more serious movie. This one kind of tugs the heartstrings. It's one of the greatest underdog stories in the history of sports films. Rocky. OG original Rocky. And fun little fact.
All right, so you're going original, not what would, if you weren't going to go original, when would you go with?
Rocky 4.
And is it close? Because I would.
It's close for me. My ranking goes Rocky and then Rocky 4.
yeah, for sure that. And
it's
I would
very
say
close.
Rocky 4 is better, but the whole running up the stairs, the Philly scene, like, you gotta take it.
Here's a little film nugget here for the audience. The Steadicam. So being able to film while the camera's not, flying all over the place. The Steadicam was invented during the filming of Rocky. When they were filming Stallone in his running scenes, they filmed him out of the side of a van, and they couldn't keep it from moving around, and they invented the first Steadicam for Rocky. So, fun little trivia fact there for you. So you've got Major League and Caddyshack. I've got Bull Durham and Rocky. Pick number 3 for you, Will Kunkel.
This is just an awesome movie. It's one of my personal favorites. So I don't think I'm getting into the realm of, like, I'm going to lose the voter. I think what I'm doing here is I'm going to really wrangle the voter, especially some specific ones. And I'm going with one of my greatest, Billy Hoyle, White Man Can't Jump.
That's a good one. It was on my list.
Yeah,
it was on my list.
That's the goal here. It's just to pluck from your list, and that way you have a horrible list.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could have put together 2 5 teams off just my list. You're doing a good job of putting together a good team. I like mine a little better.
Billy,
you're doing a good job.
Money.
Quince.
Kinks.
Oh, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, I gotta come strong here. All right, I'm gonna get into football, but it's not gonna go where you think I'm gonna go with it.
There's some really bad football movies that people like that I can't get on board with.
I got a hunch this might be it, and I'm sticking it right there in the middle, and I'll sandwich it with some other really good picks. I have watched Any Given Sunday like 100 times. I love Any Given Sunday.
The dude loses an eyeball on the goal line.
Yes, you don't think D'Amico Ryans would say, "Get off the field, we got to finish this drive."
Oh my god! Like the uniforms are horrible
because they couldn't get the NFL stuff, and all the teams are goofy. That does take away a little bit from it, but just some of your athlete cameos, Willie Beeman being like a mobile quarterback before mobile quarterbacks were a thing. He went to UH in the movie, which was always hilarious to me. Pacino's speech, Cameron Diaz, peak of her powers. Like Any Given Sunday, Lawrence Taylor cutting the car in half. Like just so much good stuff in there. Not going to be for everybody, but I like Any Given Sunday.
He loses an eyeball on the goal line for all the voters out there, and it's just eye-rollingly, pun intended, ridiculous.
Yep, it is. It is. I know exactly what you're going to do to counter me.
So I don't know how I'm going to do this, so we've reached the point where I have 2 picks left, and I have at least 4 movies that are 4 of my favorite movies of all time. And like someone's gonna have to get left out, and I think I'm gonna save my last pick for my last pick. I'm not gonna hint anymore at it. And I gotta stay in the football realm. One of my favorite movies. I truly watch it every single time that it is on. It's uplifting. It's heroic. There's a slight bit of just enough humor, but it's just awesome. And the football's actually pretty decent. Remember the Titans, number 4 overall.
I knew you. I already wrote down 4 next to Remember the Titans because I knew you were going to go with them. A larger appeal and a little bit better football movie to try to counter Any Given Sunday. I knew you.
I just had to get football into my 5 because when people are going to look at the list, they're going to say, "Well, there's no football movie." And I think I've done that. Now, sadly, again, some of my great ones are going to be left out, but I've got a zinger for 5, and I don't think you'll touch it because you are a very classless man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I bet I know what your number 5 is.
No shot.
I think I do. I think I
do. If you take it, I'll be happy for you.
No, number 4 for me, I'm gonna get into the world of comedy. And I'm going to the world of comedy in the same sport that you went into the world of comedy. You got Caddyshack. I got to get Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
You do it for your home?
Obviously. You do it for your home? It's all in the hips, Code. It's obviously a classic.
So good. 364 days till hockey season, all the way to, I believe that's Mr. Gilmore's jacket. Giant guys running down the green.
Oh my God.
Had it hit off of Frankenstein's big fat foot. So Happy Gilmore's number 4 for me. All right, this big secret final pick that you have here that's going to maybe win it or lose it for you, Will Kunkel. What do you got?
This is straight up great cinema. I mean, there's no other way around it. It's a sports movie, but it's an amazing movie outside of sports. Robert De Niro, Old Bob, Raging Bull.
Wow, that is not what I thought you were going to pick.
So anybody that hasn't seen it, here's my spiel. Just watch it. I promise you. If you want to vote for Cody now, go ahead and vote for Cody now. But then go ahead and watch Raging Bull as your penance, and then come back and apologize profusely. One of the greatest, best movies. You're going to turn around and be like, "Well, honey, it's just black and white, and he wants me to watch this." Trust me, it's worth it. It's probably the best. I could have been a contender.
That's a great pick. That's amongst the great cinema that we're gonna, that we could get in movies. That's pretty much up there. So that's really good. All right, I'm gonna finish this off the way I started. I'm going with baseball. But I'm going.
Okay, if you pick the movie that I think is one of the greatest worst movies, and I hate it for one specific reason, I'm gonna pounce again.
The Sandlot.
Okay, amazing movie. Nope.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that wasn't what you were thinking. That wasn't what you were thinking. So Sandlot is that I just to have the thought to go back like in a summer, have enough of your buddies to play like even a semblance of a style of baseball in the summer with your friends. The Sandlot's just great. Being scared of a dog that actually isn't that big. Being scared of a neighbor that actually isn't that scary.
Everything's bigger when you're a kid, right? Like everything's scarier, everything's bigger, everything's tougher. I don't know if there's a better scene in a sports movie than the 4th of July scene with Ray Charles singing America the Beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
it's,
that's
I
what
mean,
we're thinking.
fantastic. So Sandlot wraps it up for me. Okay, what just missed? Because I'll say this, I'm shocked you didn't pick Miracle.
I love Miracle. I don't. It's just not one of my favorites. Like I
Okay.
really do like it. I don't know that it would have been Miracle or Slapshot if I went to the hockey genre. Like Slapshot's
Sure.
one of the funniest movies out there. How about this? Field of Dreams getting left out.
Yeah, grew up without a dad, so that one doesn't hit with me.
Okay, okay. That's not your genre.
Oh, that one's a miss for me.
Honorable mention. It's not. I don't even know that it's sneaky funny, but a lot of the beginning of it is some of the funniest stuff ever. Is A League of Their Own and John Lovitz. The dude
Yeah.
killed it in that movie, and that movie's awesome anyway.
Funny. Yeah, that's good. For a really just kind of a straight comedy sports one, Dodgeball. I thought it'd be, I thought I could get a little bit more sportsy than Dodgeball.
He
We
Got
didn't
Game
pick,
is one of my favorites. I went back and watched it recently, and it lost a little bit to me. It was a little bit more not as good as I thought it was initially, but nonetheless, still a good movie.
There's some decent basketball stuff that didn't make it. Blue Chips.
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers.
Oh, Blue Chips. I love Blue Chips.
Yep.
So sneaky, awesome, and super realistic now looking back on things.
We didn't. Nobody's dad got anybody to transfer to another school and had that school's best player go to the other school.
Yeah,
but that happens now.
I'm proud of both of us, in particular you, because I had such little faith in you.
Yeah,
Moneyball. So I enjoy Moneyball for obvious reasons, like it's fun to watch. But you make a movie about that athletics team and don't mention once the pitching staff, arguably one of the greatest pitching staffs of like all time. It's all about Scott Hatteberg's OBP. Like, give me a break. It's so far-fetched, and it removes so much reality from an actual true story. I can't watch it and like not get angry.
Let's not talk about Miguel Tejada hitting 50 home runs, juice to the gills. Let's not talk about Barry Zito and Mark Mulder.
Tim Hudson, there were dudes all over that roster, but hey, they didn't want to put Hatteberg in the 4-hole. It was
There's some great moments in it though, where he's like, "You want me to talk? Yeah. When I point at you, you talk." That's a good one. And then
it's a fun watch. If it wasn't, it's based on a true story though, and so much of the truth is left out.
Yeah, and then. It's pretty easy. Tell him, Ron. It's incredibly difficult. It's like, okay, that's good. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so Moneyball is a little overrated among sports movies. Tin Cup's fantastic. They actually filmed some of it right here in Houston. So Tin Cup's really good. I mean, Costner's in a bunch of these.
He killed the Sappy Love movies forever.
Yep.
Sappy Love sports movies. Bad News Bears with Walter Matthau.
Yeah, OG Bad News Bears. Even some of the OG sequels and even the remake with Billy Bob Thornton was pretty entertaining too. It's not making the top 5, top 10, but it's up there. And I'm sure the comment section will let us know which ones we ultimately missed, because I'm sure there's something we're leaving out. Something somewhere.
One of my favorite movies, 8 Men Out, about the White Sox Black Sox scandal.
Okay, that's good.
Love that movie. Really good movie.
Gets out the $10,000. Okay. Oh, what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Eddie Seacott. Was that for Eddie Seacott?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, we didn't get any racing movies in there. There's a couple of decent ones, but nothing.
Days of Thunder is.
You ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. That's yep.
Yeah. Days of Thunder is so damn good.
What is it? The one that Hemsworth did about the fella that got.
The Rush?
Is it Rush? Yeah. That got him versus Niki Lauda. Yeah, he was James Hunt, and the other guy was Niki Lauda, and he got burned and then came back and still raced. That's a pretty decent one.
Ford versus Ferrari, albeit, it's so hard. It's interesting with sports movies. So much of it has to do with your childhood unless it's a really good movie. But like Ford versus Ferrari is a great movie, but it's so recent that feeling and that emotion isn't really tied to it.
Yeah. I do wonder how good this Brad Pitt F1 movie is going to be that's coming out, which could be like F1's the thing now. And I just, Pitt's a great actor. So it's like, is he going to nail it? That'd be interesting.
I'm excited to see that.
We didn't get any
Maybe
soccer in here. I don't know. There's like a soccer movie that just jumps off the page to me. Like
the Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, Kicking and Screaming.
Yeah.
The back way back in the day, watch the Big Green, which is about like a kid's soccer team.
What the kid from the Sandlot, right?
Yeah. The redheaded kid from the Sandlot was the goalie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So we covered it pretty well. I'll throw the teams up on the screen for the folks so they can see it one more time, and then go vote over on the community page here at the end. We'll see tons of your coverage on Fox 26 of the draft and the Astros and the Rockets and anything else that happens in Houston. You're all over it over there on Fox 26 with the sports stuff, and of course Kicking It with Kunkel, which you graciously let me make an appearance on every now and then. So it's fantastic.
Hey, let's make a side bet on this. If somebody gets over 60% of the vote, the loser has to buy lunch.
How about the loser has to buy the ticket to Brad Pitt's new movie? The F1 movie.
A date. This is how Cody gets me on dates.
No, you just buy the ticket for me. I don't want to go see it with you. You just buy it for me, and I'll go by myself.
I couldn't afford your popcorn bill anyway.
Just get the never-ending bucket. I'll take care of it from there.
Oh, shoot. That was good. I love my list. I appreciate everyone that's going to vote for me. Thank you.
Well, those 3 people will appreciate the thanks. The rest of them, they're going to vote for me. All right, Will, appreciate it. And I'll have the information for everybody to find you down there in the description. So no need to plug anything. And this concludes our on-screen time together, but I'm sure I'll see you around here in the next few days.